Okay, guys, so we are on part two already. This is going to be a continuation of the physical features of Africa. Let's do a quick recap of what we studied in the previous part. We studied about why Africa is a very important continent. It is believed that we originated from there, and that theory is called as the Out of Africa theory. Right? Then we talked about how Africa was earlier called as Alkebulan, which is called as the cradle of mankind or the Garden of Eden. We talked about the story of the Garden of Eden, how it originated. Then we talked about why Africa was also called as the Dark Continent during the 19th century and how the Europeans overcame uh, malaria and tribal conflict in order to colonize Africa. Moving on, then we talked a little bit about how Africa is as a continent in terms of its size, that is 20%, how the three latitude lines pass through it, and what are the extreme points. This is where we had stopped, and now we are going to continue from there. Okay, so we are going to first talk about the regions in Africa. It's very simple. Now, these are how the regions look like. They are divided into five regions, that is north, south, east, west, and central. Okay, so let's quickly just look at them over here. Now, let's try to guess the regions in the next image. Okay, so the one in brown you can see is which region? Very good, north. The one in pinkish red is west. The one in purple lilac color is central. The one in green is east. Very good. It also comprises of Madagascar, which is the island nation located to the southeast of Africa. And then to the bottom, the blue one is obviously South Africa. South Africa. Okay, not the country South Africa, but the region. Now, how many countries are there in total within Africa? So there are 54 independent countries in Africa. Now, let's study a little bit about the topography of Africa. This gets interesting and a little bit more complex, so please pay attention. We have different types of areas that we find, from mountain regions to highlands to plateaus. Okay, so let's see the first towards the north. What do we have towards the northwest? So, towards the northwest, we have something called as a neotectonic areas. This is where the tectonic plates had collided and had led to what type of tectonic plates? New tectonic plates. Basically, these are recently formed um, phenomena. So, what had happened was when the tectonic plates had collided, it led to the formation of the Atlas mountain ranges, which is located over here, as you can see, towards the northwest of, northwest of Africa. And well, if you look over here, what is the highest mountain? The highest mountain is called as Topkal. Now, something very interesting about the Atlas mountain range is that the Atlas mountain ranges, guys, actually have what is called as a fold mountain. Now, what is a fold mountain? Now, imagine this is my finger, okay, and I keep a cloth on top of it. I don't have a cloth, but let me just try showing you a piece of this. Now, look at this. What is happening? Do you see these creases that are falling over, right? There is a particular type of fold. I don't know if you can see or not. So, these are what is called as the fold mountains, where there are creases. You can see in the picture that I've added on the top as well. Okay, and this is how the Topkal looks like. Please do not forget, the peak or a summit is usually denoted with a triangle sign to indicate that there is a mountain region there. Okay, so this is what we have towards the northwest, guys. We have the fold mountains. And what are the fold mountains? Is the entire range called, they are called as the Atlas mountain range, which is the highest peak over there. It is Topkal. And where is it located? It is located in the country of Morocco, which I'm sure you've guessed by now. And moving on down, because these are neotectonic areas, guys, right? What type of phenomena do they experience? They experience earthquakes, because obviously there is a shift in the tectonic plates. Now we are done with northwest. Let's move on towards the east. So towards the east and the southeast, basically comprising the coastal line across alongside the uh, Indian Ocean, is where we find these highlands. We find a lot of highlands. Now we're going to study about three highlands. Okay, so the first highland that we find is Ras Dasen in Ethiopia. That is towards almost northeast, you could say. Okay, then we have Mount Kenya in Kenya, which is central east of Africa. And then we have Mount Kilimanjaro, Manjaro in Tanzania, which is not completely to the uh, southeast, you could say, in a way. Okay, so these are the three that we have alongside the eastern section of Africa. So the first one is Ras Dasen in Ethiopia, second is Mount Kenya, and number three is Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. And it has a summit which is called as Kibu. Okay. Now we talked about the difference between a mountain and a mountain range. So a mountain is a singular mountain, but when there are more than one mountains combined together, guys, it is called as a mountain range. Okay. Now, what is a mountain? How do we classify it from a hill? So any type of um, rock formation which is of a height of more than 900 meters is considered as a mountain. Understood? Okay, now these shapes of the mountains may differ. Okay, they may not be the same. That is why one of them is higher. For example, in the Himalayas, the Everest is the highest because it doesn't have the same shape as the other mountains. Otherwise, all of them would have the same height as the Everest, and the Everest would not be the tallest. Okay, now, let's look next. What is a hill then? If a mountain is above 900 meters, anything that is below 900 meters but not less than 300 meters is considered as a hill. And what is a ridge? When there are more than one hills combined together, it is called as a ridge. But now look at this. Most of them show equality in size. In mountains, if you remember, not all of them are same in shape or size, but over here you can see that they are somewhat similar in shape. Okay, and as you can see over here, what is a summit? Summit is the highest point of a mountain. Okay, and what is a peak? Peak is the highest point of the highest mountain. Again, you can see this is a mountain system and mountain chain. Okay, now just give me a minute, please. Okay, sorry, there was a mistake. Yes. So, moving on ahead, when I was talking about mountain chains and mountain systems, so what is a mountain chain? When it has the same age, form, structure, and elevation, it is called as a chain. But when there is a different age, form, structure, elevation, they are called as a system. Okay, so these are certain differences between mountain, a mountain range, hill, ridge, mountain chain, and mountain system. Moving on next, now let's look what are the other types of landforms or different types of things, physical features that are found in Africa. So we also have some basins which are found towards the east, guys, and they are very important. We call these as the five Great Lakes of Africa. What are the five Great Lakes of Africa? So we have Lake Malawi, Lake Tanganyika, Lake Albert, Lake Turkana, and Lake Victoria. Lake Turkana is not mentioned here, but you can see it on the map here. It's towards uh, Ethiopia, where Ethiopia is right about Lake Albert, okay, and right about the country of Kenya. So these are some of the most important lakes which are there of Africa. But the most important lake out of these would be Lake Victoria. Why? Because it is the largest lake of Africa. It is also from where the Nile gets connected to the uh, Nile gets connected and it moves up towards the north towards Egypt. Okay, so yeah, these are five lakes that you will have to remember. There are other lakes too, smaller lakes, but these are the ones that you need to remember for now. Okay, now moving on, we saw towards the northwest, we have the new tectonic regions. Towards the east, we have the highlands, right? Then we have the lakes. What else do we have now? So towards the west now we shift, and towards the west, guys, we see that we have some very important mountain ranges. Now, what are these mountain ranges? They are called as Tipsy mountain range and Ahagar mountain ranges. So these two are very important mountain ranges. And what period were they formed in? Very important. They were formed during the Paleolithic period. Okay, and how much area does it cover? Let's see. So it starts from the Sahara Desert to the north and moves down towards the Gulf of Guinea, which is near the country of Guinea, obviously. So you can imagine that's a big chunk of Africa that is being covered. Now there are some also important rivers which are there located to the west. For example, that is Senegal, River, Niger River, and Benue River. Okay, these are three very important rivers that we have as well. You can see towards the west of Africa. Now, moving on, last but not the least, are plains and deserts. So, towards the central region, north central region, okay, or the entire region of the north is covered by deserts. Now, we have one very important desert, that's the Sahara Desert, that we've heard a lot about, right? Especially the country of Egypt gets, often um, associated with the Saharas. But right below it, we also have something called as the Sahel. Now, I had told you already, Sahel is not actually considered as a desert, but it is considered as a steppe. And right below, we also have another desert which is very important, that is called as the Namibia Desert, which is located towards the south of Africa. Okay, so with this, guys, we almost come to an end. Now let's see. Next, we have rivers and plains. Now I already told you very important rivers of Africa that you should remember are obviously Nile because it's the longest. Then we have Senegal, Niger, Benue, Congo, Zambia. These are some of the most important rivers that we need to remember about. Okay. So that's it. We are done with part two as well. See you in part three. Bye bye.